Hey everyone, Davie here. Welcome to our first video of 2022. Today we're going to go through my 10 favorite Shopify apps. Shopify makes it so easy to install apps. It's one of its superpowers. Apps can increase conversion rate, increase average order value, and make you a ton more money. Apps need to come with the warnings though. If you use the wrong apps, it can slow your website down and leave a ton of money off the table. For those that have been following along on our Lemon Scrub series, you know that we've got our website all set up. Now it's time to install apps. If you haven't been following on, that's okay. I'm just gonna use the Lemon Scrub as an example in this video. None of these apps have paid me for this video. There are a couple of affiliate links down below, but I'm gonna give you lots of alternatives and outline the pricing so you can make the best choice for your business. Let's get into it. The first app that we're gonna cover today is perfect if your product is low average order value. So basically under $70 or so. With products like that, shipping costs a lot of money compared to the actual revenue that you can bring in per order. The app is called ShipScout. It's always difficult to understand when you launch your product whether you should offer free shipping or charge a little bit. Free shipping should be more appealing to customers and therefore increase your conversion rate. So the more people that go to your store will actually end up checking out. A lot of brands will actually just add the cost of shipping onto the price of their product, making their product just a little bit more expensive to cover that cost. What ShipScout does is it allows you to actually split test that concept. What this allows you to do is actually test shipping thresholds. For Lemon Scrub, for example, if we're selling it for $40 and we have a free shipping over $50 offer on the header bar, it would entice people to actually purchase 2 of the product, drastically increasing our average order value. Naturally, with all split tests, if you're trying to raise prices, which in this case you are for the people that only wanted to buy 1 Lemon Scrub because you're going to charge them shipping, you should expect a conversion rate decrease because less people buy because there's less value. I've been following along on Twitter and there's been some really strange results for this app. Not only have people been receiving an AOV increase with their orders, but a lot of people are actually reporting their conversion rate also increases, which is completely counterintuitive. One theory behind this is users are just thinking they're getting a better deal with a free shipping offer over the threshold. If you're currently charging free shipping and you've got low margin products where people can buy a couple of them, I definitely recommend trying it out. To find the app, all we need to do is go to the App Store, write in ShipScout, and it's just here. There isn't a huge amount of reviews on it yet because I do think it is still early. The reviews are good. We can just add the app. As you can see, it's $49 a month and a 7-day free trial. So maybe try to run a significant test within that 7 days to hedge your bets. As with installing all new apps, if you are doing a lot of traffic through your store, you may need to vet the app from a speed perspective first. You can have a dummy store and install the app and check the speed in Google Analytics. One disclaimer about this app is that you will need to be using the advanced Shopify plan, which is $299 a month. So if you are a new brand, then it may not be right for you. One option is that you can upgrade your Shopify plan to the $299 option, use the free trial of ShipScout at the same time, and then just revert your Shopify plan back. So the actual cost of using the Shopify app is just the difference between the basic and the advanced Shopify plan. The next app that I highly recommend that you use this year is called Dexter or Neat A/B Test. Both of these apps are incredible at split testing pricing. Pricing is one of the most underrated split tests that entrepreneurs just refuse to do. There's a few reasons why they refuse to do this. Firstly, they're worried that customers will see both pricing. This is very unlikely. Even if you're a huge brand, customers definitely don't pay this much attention to your business. Much like ShipScout, price changes will affect a few things. They'll affect conversion rate, but they'll also increase the revenue that we can create per visitors, so therefore the profits. I suggest using these apps to split test pricing in intervals that are relative to the product price. For example, if your product is around $50, split test the pricing by $5 to $10. If your product's $500, maybe you want to split test by $50. This is great to do early on, but also as your brand adapts over time. Especially with the current fears of inflation, what will happen is prices will go up across the board. This is the perfect opportunity for you to raise prices because your suppliers, your freight forwarders, and your couriers, they're all raising their prices. So you need to pass those costs on. Reasonable price raises shouldn't affect your brand as much as you think. One of the worst things that you can do is just constantly keep absorbing those costs until your business stops being profitable and therefore you actually go out of business. So to find these apps, I'll start with Neat A/B Test, Neat A/B, and it should be this first one just here. So it's got 39 reviews. You can see the Dexter app is an ad above it, which is the other one that I have used. That one is actually charged out at $3.99 per 100 visitors approximately. So the more people that you use the split test with, they'll actually charge you, which can add up to be quite expensive. but it is a really effective app. I like it. And neat A/B testing is around $29 a month. And you get the 14-day trial there as well. So I'm just gonna add that app to our store so we can use it later. The other option that you do have with split testing is to use a big robust tool like Google Optimize or Optimizely. Google Optimize is free, but it is quite hard to use. You will need to use something like Google Tag Manager to set up events. If you've got a clothing store, Google Optimize can be a really good way to split test all your pricing at once. You can actually duplicate all your products and create a split test, pushing people to one collection page with one pricing and the other page with the new pricing. These apps that I just mentioned though are far simpler and you can just test single product variants very, very easily. The next app that I recommend is Okendo. These guys are doing some really cool stuff. Reviews are incredibly important to make your Shopify look trustworthy and increase conversion rate. Okendo seems to be a really robust tool that is offering lots of customizable review options. So for example, if you're a clothing store, you can actually ask people to review things like the fit, is it true to size, or even the softness, is it comfortable? These reviews can then be paired with photos and videos to really make sure that the customer believes the review is real and guide their decision making. Okendo starts at around $29 a month. The alternative that a lot of people use is Loox. However, what seems to be happening with Loox is a lot of dropshippers are actually using the brand, which is decreasing the credibility. There are a lot of review apps out there. Make sure that your one isn't slowing down the website speed. So we can come into here and go Okendo, and you can see the product reviews right here. It's got 424 reviews at 5 stars. People are loving it. The customer service is really, really strong. The alternative that I did mention was Loox, which is here. It's obviously far more popular at this stage, definitely hit scale, but Okendo might catch it. Loox is cheaper at $9.99 a month. However, to remove the actual watermarks and stuff like that, it can increase the cost of that pretty quickly. So we can just add both of those and have a play with them. The next app that I really recommend is Klaviyo. If you've been in e-commerce a while, you know what Klaviyo is. It's an email marketing tool. Klaviyo is one of the most robust tools that allows a lot of segmentation and customization of emails. Email is one of the most important elements of building a brand and ensuring that your traffic converts. I've done a lot of videos on this that you can go check out after this video. However, the main things that you need to know is just setting up your basic flows within Klaviyo. You need to set up your post-purchase acquisition flow, your welcome series, and your abandoned cart. There are a lot of email marketing tools out there, such as MailChimp. However, I strongly recommend avoiding all of them and just using Klaviyo for e-commerce. Everything in Klaviyo is basically done through the actual Klaviyo URL, but you can still download it through the App Store in Shopify. You just come up here. You can see that the reviews, there are some negative reviews, but that's because it's not a simple app to use. That it is quite complex, and that's why people hire consultants and agencies to do that. And you can just click Add App here, and it'll actually be quite easy to set up because it drags a lot of the information, such as your logo, your business ID, and stuff like that, from Shopify settings, which is really good. The next app that I really recommend for new entrepreneurs is called Postscript. Postscript is an SMS app, and the team is fantastic there. They really help with compliance and making sure that you are compliant before using SMS marketing. SMS marketing is very underutilized within e-commerce. SMS can receive over 95% open rate compared to something like 10% in email and a 35% click-through rate, which is absolutely huge. The only downside is that it's really important to become compliant. You need to make sure people opt in specifically for text message marketing, and also make sure that your terms and services are up to date. The alternative to Postscript is SMS Bump. I know a lot of people are using that. Try to compare pricing and check it out yourself. Come in here, but in Postscript, 4.9 stars, 1,600 reviews, and you can see SMS Bump is very similar in reviews and size at this stage. But yeah, I'm using Postscript at the moment. The next app that I absolutely love is an upsell app called Rebuy. Post-purchase upsells are incredibly important and often overlooked by new entrepreneurs. Firstly, let me explain what a post-purchase one-click upsell is. After a user purchases your product, they will then be redirected to a new screen. This new screen generally has an offer for a discounted product. Even if people do not accept this offer, the original purchase that they make will still go through, which is really important because there won't be any actual drop off. Any additional revenue that you can make through this offer is just bonus. Why this is really powerful is because you've already acquired that customer. So your acquisition cost on these extra purchases is 0. Pair that with the fact that the customer already has a courier cost going to that this new product can just be added onto, which is marginally cheaper. Let's use lemon scrub again as an example. Let's say, for example, we sell one lemon scrub for $50 and it costs $30 to acquire the customer. We've got $20 profit margin there, but then the product actually costs $10. Then the courier cost as well is $10. Suddenly we have $0 profit. If we were to then offer them an upsell of a new lemon scrub at $40 more, so they get a $10 discount on the original product. So basically they're buying 2 lemon scrubs for $90, then suddenly we become profitable on that order. That's because we have no customer acquisition cost on that second order. Also, the courier cost is probably only gonna be $5, which leaves us a nice little profit margin for that customer. That's obviously a very oversimplified example. However, upsells are used everywhere. All of the major e-commerce players focus heavily on their funnels. Some of them have up to 5 post-purchase upsells to make sure that every order they get as much money from it as possible. Rebuy allows really highly personalized upsells. The other apps that you can also check out is Shopify and also Aftersell. The reason why I'm recommending Rebuy today is there's a lot of other tools that you can use, such as AI merchandising. They also offer order bumps before the customer actually checks out. So there's a lot of features that you can utilize. To install Rebuy, we just come here and write Rebuy. It's called Rebuy Personalization Engine. It's got 156 reviews, so it is relatively new compared to the other alternatives like Shopify. So Rebuy have 3 plans. One is $5 a month. However, it's gonna charge around 10 cents an order as well. There's also an enterprise plan as well for those people that are doing a lot more volume. As you can see here, these are the in-cart order bumps that they're recommending new products so people can actually add that pre-order. You can also see that there's the free shipping threshold here, similar to ShipScout. And you can also see this AI product recommendation, which is really important. If you saw my Gymshark video, they always have those product recommendations at the bottom. The other tools that you need to use to do this can actually get quite expensive, like the search springs and stuff like that. So quite a robust tool. Again, you can see the in checkout order bumps here, which is really important. I believe that you would probably need Shopify Plus to do that because you can't customize the checkout without that Shopify plan. The next app that I do recommend is the Back in Stock app. If you're constantly running out of inventory, Back in Stock will allow customers to lodge their email and or their phone number so that you can contact them when you come back in stock. The Back in Stock app will actually automatically do this. You can also integrate it with Klaviyo so you can really customize the messaging and when you send the email. It's relatively cheap and easy to use. If your theme is heavily customized, you just may need a developer to set it up. To install it, we come to the App Store, Back in Stock. So you can see that there's a lot of variations for it. One we're currently using is this one down here, Back in Stock Restock Alerts, 1,300 reviews at a 4.9. It's relatively easy to use. There are a lot that I have checked out. I've used a couple of them, but this one does absolutely fine. We're gonna add that one in. The next app that I recommend is mainly for people that have a replenishable product, alternatively, a large amount of SKUs. The app is called Pill. What it does is it really allows you to analyze your cohorts. A cohort is a group of customers with a certain variable. Let's use lemon scrub as an example to understand this. A customer that purchases the lemon scrub cleaner may have a longer lifetime value, meaning the profit over the lifetime of the customer journey is increased. That means that we can spend a little bit more to actually acquire that customer because we know that in the long run, we're going to make that profit back. Compare that to say another product that's on our store. Let's say the dishwashing cleaning gloves. That might just be a one-time purchase. Pill has this amazing segmentation in the back end where you can select first-time purchase and understand the LTV over certain windows. If you're new to product cohorts, it can get confusing. What I suggest is just looking at product specific cohorts over a 90-day LTV. If you wanna get really granular, you can look at certain countries or cities and how they spend, or even how certain promotional periods affected the LTV of your customer. For example, people that shop on Black Friday might be bargain hunters and therefore have a lower LTV. Pair that with the fact that you're actually discounting more on Black Friday, it may not be as profitable to run sales as you think. Peel is spelled P-E-E-L. It's around $149 a month, so it is relatively expensive. You can see that there's not a huge amount of reviews because it is relatively new. I'm extremely happy with it though. It does get expensive as you grow. So if you don't actually know what you're doing or you're really early, there may be a cheaper app alternative out there. I've chatted to the founders at Triple Whale. A lot of the functionality is actually in that tool. The user dashboard of Triple Whale is really, really great as well. So make sure you check out that and compare it with Peel. The main thing that you need to know when using apps to understand both your cohorts and your MER targets is make sure that they have integrations for all your marketing channels. This actually brings me to my next app that I recommend, which is BeProfit. If you're using something like Triple Whale or Peel, BeProfit might not be necessary. However, I have used BeProfit a lot in my early stage brands. BeProfit will allow you to really calculate your profit in real time. It'll compile all of your cost of goods and all of your marketing channels to understand your net profit margin. It has a really easy function to use where you can actually start adding overhead costs or consulting costs on a monthly basis. It is fantastic at calculating tax in certain regions as well to make sure that you have no slip ups. If you're a new time founder or growing really quickly, I really recommend getting an app like BeProfit. If you don't have investment, you're going to need to make sure that you're profitable to keep replenishing your orders. To install BeProfit, we come in here and it's got 213 reviews, 4.9 stars. There's a couple of other apps that I will mention here like Lifetimely. I believe that can do most things. Last time I checked Lifetimely was about 8 months ago and they didn't have all the integrations that I needed to get the MER, the marketing efficiency ratio, or full funnel ROAS. And I also have looked into Autometrics. However, if we're looking at real-time profitability, I love BeProfit. The final app that I recommend is for new founders or mid-level e-commerce businesses. The app is called GemPages. When building your Shopify site, the initial themes can only get you so far. By doing large design changes on the template, you can have huge conversion rate boosts. These conversion rate boosts will make your traffic far more efficient. GemPages makes this really easy to do without large design teams and developers. You can start by customizing your product page, making it longer, adding a lot more features. GemPages also has A/B tests that you can use to split test and improve your conversion rate. One benefit of using a page builder is that you don't actually need a developer. You only need a designer, which you can find a lot of those on Upwork and Fiverr. All you need to do is post GemPages or Page Builder Editor for Shopify. The other apps include Pagefly and Shogun. We've used GemPages to set up our new product pages, make them a little bit longer and increase conversion rate on Lemon Scrub. To find GemPages, spelled G-E-M pages. As you can see, a lot of people are using GemPages, 2,300 reviews at a 4.9 star. And you can see some of the other ones that I recommended like Shogun and Pagefly here. Pagefly seems to have a little bit more traffic going through it. Zipify also as well. However, I have had some speed issues with that. When you're building these pages, make sure you're considering your speed, compress your images, do all of those kind of things. Try not to add features that are unnecessary. There are obviously so many apps that you can install on your Shopify store. These are 10 of my absolute favorites. If you have any more that you recommend for our viewers, make sure you leave them in the comment section. One thing I recommend is don't get too obsessed with apps. Focus on your messaging and your advertising, as well as your product and customer experience. Apps should be used as a boost to increase conversion rate and average order value. Now we've installed all of our apps and our website is ready, we can now launch Facebook ads for our product and start selling it. If you want to follow along on this journey, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you next week. Cool.